What's up, guys? So, if you haven't heard, and if not for TikTok, I never would have heard this story either. But on November 20th of this year, 2024, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a pagan priestess led a prayer before a city council meeting. And needless to say, that went public, and the outcry was what we expected it to be. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And before I go there, and I'm going to read you a couple of articles and talk about that, let's see that prayer that is so deemed demonic.
Adams, would you like to come?
As a priestess of the goddess, I invoke the Gorgonea. Champions of equality and sacred rage, I call to Medusa, monstrous hero of the oppressed and abused. I open the eye of Medusa, the stare that petrifies injustice. I call upon the serpent that rises from this land to face the stars, the movement of wisdom unbound. May these leaders find within themselves the embodied divine, the sacred essence of the spark of the universe and the breath of the Awen. Place in the hands of these leaders the sacred work of protecting the sovereignty and autonomy of all our people. Gorgon goddess, make them ready and willing to be champions for all in this city, not just those in power. Shine a light for them that they may walk the path of justice, protected and prepared, illuminating the darkness. Endow them with the fire of courage, the waters of compassion, the air of truth, and the strength of the earth itself. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. May there be peace among you all. And so it is.
Thank you very much.
So, watching that prayer, there is nothing evil, sinister in that prayer at all. It's a prayer of asking the divine, asking for God, goddess, your deity of choice, to specifically Medusa, specifically to guide the council with wisdom and make the fair and right decision. That's the moral of the story. If you put the Lord, you put Jesus, you put anything else in that prayer, it would have not made the news. It would have been just another day in the office. But because we in this country have a freedom of religion, and same as always, heaven forbid that it is not your religion, people freak, and the response is not surprising at all. So let's read a couple of articles from a different perspective. So we got from, I'll let you know, it gives you more detail than what I'm going to say, but from Tulsa, Oklahoma, this is from the website KTUL.com, which is, like I said, the local news of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it says that Tulsa City Council is in the spotlight for a prayer at the beginning of a meeting that people, including the governor, Kevin Stitt, are calling satanic. So it happened, so a little pretext, I guess you could say, how it all happened. It says, it happened before last Wednesday's meeting. Priestess Amy McAdams, whose pagan belief gave the invocation using the character Medusa from Greek mythology, who has snakes for hair and is known for her wrath. Again, this is from a news site. This is not a pagan article I'm reading. Stitt on X, formerly known as Twitter, as I like to used to say, said, Tulsa City Council needs to stand strong against actions like this, end quote. City Councilor Krista Patrick, who's also pagan, said her religion is not satanic, which actually brings up a good point. I wanted to show you a picture right here. If you look, you'll see one of the council members raising their hands. So we can pretty much guess that that is Krista Patrick, who is also the pagan, and probably the one that invited this priestess to come pray before this meeting. Let me show you the picture of her doing this. All right, so city councilor Krista Patrick, who's also pagan, said her religion is not satanic. Paganism is a nature-based religion and follows the harvest and moon cycles, she added. According to Patrick, Medusa is actually fighting for justice, especially for women, which a lot of pagans see her as. I've seen many YouTube videos of people who are finding a hero in Medusa. It says in a Facebook message, McAdams said, quote, "I think where a lot of people get stuck is the word serpent. Many Christians equate any reference to snakes or serpents directly with Satan, but I'm referencing the serpent that make up Medusa's hair. This is classical mythology and before Christianity. Snakes were ancient symbols of feminine divinity, healing, and transformation." Again, this is not resourced or anything like that. This is just her talking off the cuff. So Stevie Saris, who saw the video, said she used to work with the Rotary over the invocation leadership. She said the invocation was supposed to be neutral, and this was not. Quote, "I would have expected the city council to step in at the very moment it was going in any direction, and here we go. This felt very satanic to me," end quote, she said. So Patrick said that she was sad to hear people misconstrue the message. Quote, "For anyone who actually listened to the prayer, it asked for the strength to fight injustice so we achieve equality and peace for all, and there's nothing bad about that," Patrick said. And without reading this part of the article, that you heard me, that's what I said at the beginning of this little video, because that's all it was. It was nothing, like I said, sinister or evil about it. It was just asking for guidance. So Patrick adds people from all religions can have the invocation. Quote, "So everyone can feel like this is their city hall, that we are all citizens of Tulsa," she said. McAdams said the criticism highlights a bigger issue. Here we go. Quote, the Christian nationalist movement is growing, especially here in Oklahoma. We already have Bibles being pushed into public schools. This is directly taking spiritual liberties and freedoms away from minority religions and those who choose no religion. But I give an invocation that I was invited to give, and simply by being pagan in public, I am somehow threatening the religious liberties of those Christian nationalists," end quote. All right, so to wrap it up, it says, according to the city of Tulsa, quote, "Invocations are regulated by city council rules, and all questions regarding the invocation should be directed to the Tulsa City Council." So she actually brings up a point of how Christian nationalist movement is growing, especially here in Oklahoma. We have Bibles being pushed into public schools. So I do want to say something about that. So we do have freedom of religion, and that is a very true thing. So I'm coming off work, so I may be a little slurry in speech, but I wanted to talk about this. So that is a true statement right there, that Bibles are being pushed in public schools. Do you see anything in my videos that has anything to do about preaching the gospel, talking about Jesus, talking about Christianity? I say that because what you see on these videos, here we go, we're getting ranty now. So here we go. So this is what we see. So it is true. I say that because I have my daughter, as you know, and we don't talk in this house about Christianity and Jesus and stuff like that, because that's not our spiritual path. That's not this household. If that's what she wants to do, that's fine. What's alarming and concerning, and what's said on this article, that Bibles are being pushed in public schools, 100%. I don't live in Oklahoma, but I have my daughter telling me all the time about God and Jesus, And just this last week, especially this time of year, being December, just this last week, I don't remember what it was. I think it was about the rain and weather. And she told me it's because Jesus does it or because God did it. She gave a reason. I think it was about who controls the weather, and it was God and Jesus. Because the kids asked the question, and Christian teacher that said that's what the answer is. That's why it's scary. That's why it's scary. And being in a religious minority in a community of a religious majority, I can definitely see that. I can. Okay, here we go again. So that reminds me that last year she brought home a Bible, and where did she get that Bible? It was from school, and I know it's an applause-worthy thing that we have a Christian teacher in America teaching our children. I know that's what the majority says, but when that's not your spiritual path, that is a problem. Not just being pagan, but to say that if you were Jewish or Muslim, anything, or atheist, where is the outcry that that's okay? I mean, let's flip it. Let's think that if we lived in a Muslim community and we were Christians and my daughter came home with a Quran, or your daughter or son, whoever's watching this video, came home with a pamphlet or something that was not what you believe. How okay is that? It's the majority religion, and where you live, it's to be expected. That's why it's not okay, and that's why. And then what I have to do is kind of explain in a good way why we don't do certain things, and that there are different religions in the world, and it's not just that one. So it's a teaching opportunity, but that is not the way it should happen. That's why it's important to let people and your kids see what you do, because yeah, I'm kind of getting off topic, but I just wanted to say that one hit a nerve at saying that Bibles are being pushed in public schools, because that is very true. And that's going to get into the wrap up of the end of this, not public school Bibles, but I want to read one more article that from another perspective on this news topic that happened, and then we'll talk about it and wrap it up before I really go off on something right now. All right, so one more article. This is from the website Freedom from Religion Foundation, or FFRF, and it is entitled that the FFRF urges Tulsa City Council to drop prayer altogether following the pagan blowback. So this is a completely different perspective on the news topic. And since then, I want to say that I read that they have decided that they're just going to have no prayer at all before city council meetings. So what did the Freedom from Religion Foundation have to say? It says that they're calling on this Tulsa City Council to stand firm in its commitment to inclusivity and resist pressure from Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt, Superintendent Ryan Walters, and other Christian nationalists to restrict opening invocations after a pagan prayer was delivered at a recent board meeting. Quote, "If the council is going to start with prayer, then it has to be open to all comers," says FFRF co-president Dan Barker. However, this controversy shows why religion and government is divisive and why the wisest course is for public bodies to drop opening prayers, end quote. 100%. So a priestess of the goddess, and they quoted that, delivered the opening prayer at the November 20th council meeting. And that's a problem. They quoted a priestess of the goddess. We don't quote reverend or pastor. We don't put those in quotes. So that's a little disrespectful. So making several references to the deities such as Medusa, a figure from Greek mythology. So see, it kind of all wraps up into my channel, doesn't it? She urged the council to protect the sovereignty and the autonomy of all our people, and to be champions for all in the city, not just those in power. And she continued, shine a light for them that they may walk the path of justice, protected and prepared, illuminating the darkness, endow them with the fire of courage, the water of compassion, the air of truth, and the strength of the earth itself. And she also invoked the Alwyn. So the Alwyn, those that probably don't know if you are Hellenic polytheists, but the Alwyn is a Celtic thing. That is the symbol. You may or may not have seen me painted up around Halloween or Samhain. I have the 3 dots and the 3 lines. That is the Alwyn. That is divine inspiration. So she also didn't just do Greek Medusa, but said invoke the Alwyn, divine inspiration, and earth, wind, and fire. So my guess is that she is Wiccan, just guessing, since she's a pagan priestess. That's my guess, but I don't know. That's besides the point. So it says a video of the prayer spread quickly on social media over the weekend where it was mistakenly described as satanic. And Governor Stitt addressed the prayer on X, putting pressure on the council members to discriminate against oh man, I hate this part. So the governor put pressure on the council to discriminate against non-Christians and imploring citizens to vote out those members who support actions like this. Isn't that crazy? Saying that Satan is trying to establish a foothold, but Oklahoma is going to be a shining city on the hill. So Tulsa City Council needs to stand strong against actions like this. And Tulsans need to remember who allowed this at the ballot box. So Walters also chimed in, threatening the person who allowed a non-Christian prayer to be delivered is satanic prayers are welcomed in hell, but not in Oklahoma. Satanism is not a religion. This is what this guy's saying. So Tulsa should immediately move to ensure that this never happens again, and the person who allowed it should be held accountable. It was disappointing to see Attorney General Ginter Drummond, or Ginter, I'm not sure, who has been one of the few officials standing up for the separation of church and state, referring to non-Christian prayers as sacrilege. All right, so the FFRF is encouraging the Tulsa City Council to stand up for true religion freedom by ensuring that it continues respecting religious plurality and does not start discriminating against non-Christian citizens if it chooses to continue with opening a prayer. 100%. So the FFRF reminds the council that legislative prayers must be inclusive and cannot favor a specific religion. 100%. So in town of Greece versus Galloway in 2014, the U.S. Supreme Council ruled that while invocations at government meetings are permissible, they must be non-discriminatory and open to all faiths, including non-theistic beliefs. Ignoring the guidance could expose the city of Tulsa to potential legal action and challenges. Good. So FFRF preferred solution. This website's preferred solution, however, would be that they drop prayers altogether. And like I said, from what I understand and read, that is what they did. So it says that, let's see, council members are free to pray privately or worship on their own in their own way. So, quote, we agree that government-sponsored prayers to a deity that you do not believe in are alienating, writes FFRF. The best policy, the most inclusive policy, is to stop prayers altogether and get straight to business in working for Tulsa. So it is disgraceful that Governor Stitt and Superintendent Walters are using their positions of power to bully the Tulsa City Council into promoting religious discrimination. Their actions blatantly disregard the diversity of beliefs in Oklahoma and send a divisive message that those who do not share their religious views are unwelcome. Public officials have a duty to represent all citizens, not just select groups, and their push for religious exclusivity is both unconstitutional and deeply un-American. 100%. And that is why it should just be completely dropped, in my opinion. And because in reality, in the real world, they are not going to allow anything but the majority religion to pray at these council meetings without their stinking attitudes and their opinions are prejudice, that are 100% prejudice. And that's why they always want prayer in schools. Let's return prayer to the schools. Let's do this, baby. And then they don't understand. They don't understand that when they're asking for prayer in schools, they're saying, let's put Christian prayer back in school. That's not the world we live in anymore, because we don't have just a majority of Christians in these schools anymore. I can tell you. And if we're going to do prayer in school again, which is never going to happen because it's not realistic. This is not the 1940s anymore. We would have to have all religions have prayers in schools, and that would be a whole other topic and a whole other video. So, separation of church and state is a thing. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Because if you're going to, it saves your, you know what, from making you look like a you know what, if you just leave it at that. Because then they won't know that you're really a prejudice against other religions and that you are fighting for the wrong cause, we'll say. I'm trying hard to hold this right now. Because like I said, it hits home. It hits home because I see it and you see it too. It's wrong. And let's just keep it all out. And everyone can pray at home. Continue doing your thing on Sundays, doing your thing at home, and keeping it out of government things, keeping it out of school things. And I think it'll be a happier place, and everybody will get along a lot better without fire, without controversy. Anyway, so I saw that. And I thought, you should see that, because I didn't know anything about it until TikTok this morning. And I saw it was on PBS, was reporting on it. And I was like, what is going on? So, yeah, I hope you got upset, because when things like this happen, it makes me upset, because this is the world we live in today, especially in the U.S. And it's not cool, especially when someone is doing something with good intent. And it is blasted by the black and white team, the black and white posse, where it's either God or evil. So it's two choices, and the world does not revolve and work around this idea in reality. And then again, we got a world of people that believe the world is flat. Who? God. Okay, let's... It's 2024, right? It's not 1224. I don't know anymore sometimes. Anywho.
Has the planet gone mad?